To our most loyal listeners, I am telling you, I'm challenging you to challenge Matt Sullivan to get stranger and weirder and off the beaten path guests, okay? Because for the first time since Allison, we now have someone around here who will search the world with a team of investigators to find the weirdest guests anywhere in pop culture. And we have been playing this video for a while here, I don't know, all week at least, where I'm confused by how it is and why it is we underestimate the athletes we watch. Why anyone would think that they should stand in a ballroom and be kicked by Jorge Masvidal, who since he's been 15 years old in the streets of Miami, has sharpened his shins so that when he hits you in the leg at maximum power, he's a killer in the fight game, you idiot.
But that idiot has a story for the rest of his life. I mean,
okay, he does, but this is the part I didn't understand when we were looking for him, is this is a person who should know better because he's his driver. He runs security for Jorge Masvidal. He makes his money off of Jorge Masvidal being able to do that to other professional fighters who are fighting over money. What are you doing, you idiot? Play that video.
Takes 1 hour, 1,000.
What?
And the video, if you're only listening via audio, is him slithering, Kyle Bramlett slithering across the floor, I don't know, 12 feet in writhing pain and shooting Masvidal a middle finger. An idiot. Oh, he joins us now. Kyle, thank you for joining us.
Can he still drive?
Well, let's find out.
Can he hear you calling him idiot?
Well,
twice.
Look, Kyle.
Yeah, no, I can drive just fine. It hurt only for a few moments.
All right.
Okay, so yes, forgive me, Kyle, for being a bit of a moron in the way that I have introduced you. I appreciate your time here. I think you would understand, though, why I'd like the backstory. You're the driver and you help run security for Jorge Masvidal, and this seems like a wildly imprudent thing to do. Why did you do it? And thank you for joining us.
Well, I had showed up a little bit late for work, and they were looking for a victim to kick, so I joined in.
All right, so just abusive. Jorge Masvidal is an abusive employer who you were late for work in the way.
No, not at all.
He kicked you. He kicked you.
He's the best employer in the world.
Okay, so but I don't understand. The punishment for this, I would imagine, would be real pain that you still feel. Did you know this was coming? Does he treat many employees this way?
Nah, I knew it was coming. The other guy, he had offered a little bit of money on the side, and I was like, hey, let's go with it.
Okay, well, now the story gets more interesting.
But the punishment, no matter what, for being late is leg kick. We all know this.
We have the same rule.
What? Wait.
So I kind of got a win-win situation there.
Okay, hold on a second. No, wait a minute.
You should be late more often.
So in the fighting game, Jorge Masvidal, I don't know how many employees he has. You're telling me that it's understood that if you're late, this is the way the boss punishes lateness?
It's almost everything is punishable by leg kick.
Of course.
Wait a minute.
Also, everything is recorded on film, so
Kyle,
you wanted to sue.
Kyle.
We just find people.
No, but Kyle. All right, so Kyle, what you're explaining to us about the savage world that you live in is that this is normal? That what just happened to you, you knew what that would feel like because there have been 100 people before you who have suffered this, or does everyone just know not to be late?
Yep,
He dropped off.
That's what happens when you fly too close to the sun, Dano.
I think he may be in trouble now. Probably going to get kicked.
He's going to get kicked for that, yeah.
Oh, boy.
For telling the truth.
So could we volunteer to get kicked by you, but then also sue you for it? Because I would sign up.
It's a heady play.
Heard of death punishment kicked by Dan?
I have a lot more
Should
questions.
we be joking about? I don't know.
No, do you guys? I think
This is weird.
It is possible that his employers now cut him off, and we're going to be in an editing decision journalistically with this ridiculous interview. This is possible because this is not the turn I saw this taking. I thought
it's shocking because you started so pleasant.
Yeah. Brought him in so nicely.
Just as discount Willy Wonka calling him an idiot.
I will admit to being aggressive because I've been emboldened by this costume today.
It's the stick, like
It
this
is.
shaft you're
The
waving
shaft.
around has
Yeah.
given
Golden
you
shaft.
power.
Yeah.
Yes, the golden
Can we call it a
shaft.
scepter? Is that more
Disturbing.
acceptable? Shaft is wild work.
That's what he called it.
It's what I've been calling it, and I understand, Juju, why it is that you would object, and yet I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to continue to lean into the power of the golden shaft. Okay, Kyle has rejoined us here. Thank you, Kyle. And we're wondering, did that leave a mark? How long ago was this done, and did it leave a bruise?
It was done on Friday, and no, it never left a bruise.
Okay.
Wow.
So you're okay.
nice dive.
So
Taking quite a few leg kicks.
okay, well, okay. So this is now about your toughness, because I'm saying you're an idiot, and you're saying no, I'm not. It didn't hurt that much.
I mean, it definitely hurt. He hit me with at least 70, 80% or so. It was a good kick. But, you know, when you can't check the kick and you just got to take it, it hurts a little more.
Yes, but the middle finger that you gave him, it was pathetic.
Oh, I was upset at the time.
But it was pathetic, is what I'm saying. You're writhing on the floor. This is not your
You
most.
wanted a more menacing
Well, but
middle
I'm
finger?
just saying. I mean,
You can't hit the boss. You know, the boss is the man. So
I know.
Do you have anything nice to say about Kyle? I mean,
Okay. Well, Kyle, this is my fault.
nah, brother.
it's the shaft's fault. That's all.
Okay. No, Kyle.
Scepter.
Scepter. The scepter.
My bad. Fine.
So, Kyle, what you're telling me, and forgive me for this becoming all of a sudden a journalistic investigation, how many times have you been hit by a leg kick? Give me a number.
Over 1,000.
You've been-
I've trained for a while, so.
Wow, you've been late 1,000 times.
No,
huh?
well, that's not the question. Forgive me.
Jorge only the single kick. He only got me the one time.
Okay, so you've only been late once. Okay, because that was going to be my second question. Of those 1,000 kicks, or more than 1,000 kicks, how many of them have been by your boss, Jorge Masvidal, as an abusive punishment for being late?
For sure, just the one.
And how
And
many?
we won't be late again.
Okay, and how many other employees have been kicked in the leg as a form of punishment? Because all of you guys know that's the punishment for being late.
I don't know if I'm allowed to answer that question, but we're going to go with a solid 3.
Okay.
Well done.
All
Okay.
three super necessary.
Okay, Kyle, I appreciate you. That you protected your boss. I was really aggressively trying to get you to snitch, but you're not going for that. You're just telling us, look, I'm tougher than I look. That wasn't as bad as it looked. And also, I gave him the middle finger, so I'm still tougher than you think I am.
We'll take it. Sounds good.
Why were you late that day? Just out of curiosity.
Traffic?
We had a little safety meeting out in the parking lot, you know.
Hmm.
That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know
Sounds
about
normal.
those
We know.
safety meetings.
Yeah, those parking lots.
Okay, I just want to be clear on something. You had a safety meeting, and that's what happened to you. Yeah, I want to be clear. I
I could have been a little prompt with the meeting.
Okay, I know, but I want to be clear on what happened. In the parking lot, you had a meeting about safety in the workplace. And then that's what
That's
happened.
right.
Mhm.
Brother, don't let Willie Wonka
And then I
bully you
was
like
late.
this.
Yes.
How
My boy got
ridiculous?
his glasses on. He know about the safety meeting.
Oh, yeah.
How ridiculous does our host look?
I think he looks all right with his purple jacket and his mushroom hat.
Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I onboarded you by calling you an
Nice
idiot.
man.
I
mean,
know he's a nice man, but he understands. He's in on the joke. He understands that I don't think it's wise to get kicked by Jorge Masvidal. It's not a
It's
shocking
definitely
take.
not wise. Don't ask for it. Just don't be late.
Thank you, Kyle. Forgive me, I continue to get displaced. Stugotz, I don't want to move too far away from who the 5 people are
Oh.
that you have allowed the rights to steal a take from you.
I've granted permission.
Because now we know it's Hembo and we know it's 1. I didn't know it was up to 5. I really did not. And I didn't know there were any, honestly, that had gotten the highest honor, right? Is it not the highest honor in broadcasting for Stugotz to say, no, Rich Eisen, Dan Patrick, you guys are just thieves. You guys take my ideas and you don't credit me for them, and then they get insulted. But these 5 guys, Stugotz, or I'm assuming they're guys, these 5, Stugotz says, steal my takes. You want them? They're all yours.
It was shocking to you because normally I do get upset if someone steals my take. It doesn't give me credit, but you were shocked to learn that, no, I'm good with Hembo. He's okay. I granted him permission.
Lucy, do you know who Hembo is?
No. The whole time it sounds like a made-up name a little bit.
I thought you guys were talking about Harambe for a second.
Oh, man.
That would be crazy. If Harambe stole a take, that'd be wild.
Are you telling me that Lucy has no idea who Hembo is?
Looked him up, too. Still don't know.
I don't. What do
I'm
you?
sure he's a nice guy.
It's way more
He is.
Somebody
disrespectful
doesn't-
than what Jeremy said.
Somebody doesn't watch Get Up.
I don't.
Salute to Hembo.
Yeah, I think I bet if I got to know him, I'd really like him.
Oh, you'd love him.
Are you saying that Harambe is more famous than Hembo?
Yeah.
What happened to your shaft?
Who is Harambe?
Oh, really? That is. You don't know the dead gorilla story. You don't know the. I don't know the history of it. I just know that name as a viral dead gorilla story. But Hembo is an ESPN person who grew up as a producer for all things ESPN. And I don't want to move too far away from Stugotz being genuinely.
Is this Harambe we're talking about or Hembo?
Harambe, forgive me, because I know Harambe is a pop culture icon that represents what I believe to be a dead gorilla, a controversy involving a gorilla that was shot. Those are the only details I know. I don't know any of the other details. Hembo is a producer at ESPN. I don't know who he produced for. Mike and Mike?
Yes, he was Mike and Mike's producer. Now he's Greeny's main Get Up stat guy. Harambe, I believe a child got into an exhibit, and for the safety of the child, they had to shoot Harambe.
It was a big national controversy.
Yeah.
Rest in power, Harambe.
It was horrible. It was horrible. That I'm not going to say that baby had what it had coming to him, but Harambe was just being Harambe.
Well, that's a take.
It's a very Willy Wonka take.
That's a Wonka ass
That's
take.
wild, man.
The shaft, man.
What of it? Harambe was just being a gorilla. Don't be a baby, baby.
I told you not to drink them fizzy lifting drinks.
Like, what do you think? What do you think the gorilla at the zoo is going to do? Baby in the moat. Baby in the moat. The gorilla's going to grab you, and then we're going to have to kill Harambe, and there's going to be an international controversy because what? That gorilla didn't do anything but be a gorilla. What do you think's going to happen if you're a baby and he's a gorilla?
Man, this would have crushed in 16.
Oh my God. I wonder if you'll get canceled for having this take 8 years after the fact.
I'm here for it. I don't care. I'll take
That shaft,
all you,
man.
all you woke people.
It is
all you
really
political
fucking
What?
today.
I'm pro. In this case, I'm pro gorilla. I'm against the baby.
Damn.
I mean, a lot of people had that take.
I know Harambe from Kwanzaa. It's like Harambe.
Your shaft is bent.
It is.
Been working it hard.
Wow.
Lucy made an important correction earlier. I think it's a staff anyways, so why is Shaft even introduced?
Okay, Juju, thank you. You are correct on this. And I'm also being made uncomfortable by everything Stugotz is doing because he can't be trusted with subtlety. But what I will say to you, and this part has been funny to see, because let's get to this list of top 5 people that are allowed to steal your takes. But what has been funny to see is the power that this golden scepter has given me today has been so intoxicating that I'm not kidding you when I say this. Billy once said, mumbling as... and wasn't that long ago, mumbling as Stugotz left the room to me, Dan, how have you not realized yet that if you want to get a colonoscopy, he wants to get a colonoscopy? So Stugotz, during one of the breaks today, said, I want a cane.
Transition.
What?
I do want a cane. Only because it's become increasingly harder for me to get up. I mean, raising.
It's not.
Raising.
It's,
Whoa.
Speaking of get up,
Raising.
It is not because you're having a hard time, Stugotz, getting up. It's because I'm getting all the attention for having a golden cane. It makes you insane with jealousy that Wonka has a cane.
But I did see you use it once to get out of the chair.
I did.
And it seemed a lot easier to get out of the
I
chair.
did.
And that's all
I
I'm
did.
looking for.
I did.
Yes.
I did. But it's flimsy. I need a better scepter. It's not a great scepter.
you guys probably are due for colonoscopies.
I do it every 5 years.
Oh.
You have to once you get to 40.
Good
People
for
don't know
you.
that?
People, see your doctors. Public service announcement. And speaking of get up, Stugotz, who else is on your list?
Oh,
other than
very
Hembo?
good. Number 5 is Hembo. Number 4, Gojo. Number 3, Gio.
A lot of O's.
Number 2, Russo.
Hey, like we're cooking. We're building up.
And number 1, Colin Cowherd. It's an odd one. I understand it, and there's no O there. But I stole so many of Colin's takes. Colin doesn't even know he's been granted permission to steal my takes. I'm just telling you, I've stolen so many of Colin's takes that he is more than welcome to steal any of my bad takes.
So is this a list of people whose takes you've stolen and then retroactively granted the right to steal your takes back? Or?
Well, Hembo, I just love. I taught him everything he knows. Gojo, I just love. He could steal anything from me. Gio, I just, I like him. He's a good friend. Russo's Russo. It's an honor if Russo uses your take as far as I'm concerned. And Colin, because I stole his takes. That's it. Those are the 5.
Mike Ryan is a big admirer of how the Colin Cowherd factory works at producing content that is meant to go viral and is meant to land in all the places, Stugotz, where people can consume media. And I saw, now that you mentioned Colin Cowherd, I saw I don't know if it was a commercial. No, it wasn't a commercial. It was just Colin Cowherd's show. And if I were to simply say to you, and I'm curious what the group thinks of this, if I were simply in fiction trying to invent for you, in fiction, if I had Mike Schur and Adam McKay write this, hey, how would you write in 2024, what's the best way for a sports show to remain popular in what's going to be a really divided political 2024? How would you write the commercial for that so that it could be the most palatable to all of America, that this is a safe place to talk about sports? Would it sound anything like this?
Did you watch any of the political stuff last night? Divisive.
Other than getting my ballot in, no.
Is anybody excited about Trump versus Biden? Because that's what we got. Is anybody excited about that? That's not great, right? Ugh. I don't know how you can be all into that. I mean, you know how loud and ugly and raucous and negative it's going to be for the next 6 months?
Good thing we have sports to talk about as an escape from that nonsense.
No, I mean, it is going to be the most cantankerous, ugliest, snarky, mean. It's going to be awful. Yeah. But you should watch Fox News if you have a choice. Our owner's on that. So, I mean, I don't know. I watched it for a while last night, and it was all sort of in good spirit. Everybody was kind of smiling as they were negative, but I thought this thing's going to turn.
Smiling.
Well, I mean, it's like, by like September, October, November, voting into November, it's going to get ugly.
Thank goodness football season is, oh my gosh.
Oh.
What would I do without it?
Yeah, God. So this will be the show during all that ugliness that you can come over, laugh, get a few college basketball betting tips, hear updates on his
Don't love the card tonight.
That's how you would do it.
Smiling while they're negative is a good thing to put on the tombstone of Colin Cowherd's career.
I heard more fear there because he was just like, oh, man, who wants to watch this news stuff with what's going on? Oh, crap, my bosses are going to get mad at me. Watch Fox News, though.
It's a bad matchup. He treated it like a sporting event. It's the rematch that no one wants.
Let me ask the group your thoughts on what you just heard there, because I think you realize with the politics of this country, the politics of sports, and what focus groups would show on what the argument was around George Floyd and stick to sports. Stick to sports. In 2024, there will be safe havens on sports radio and sports media empires where you will just get the peace and the escape of sports and not any of the division, because it's easier to do that than to be fighting. And it's the choice the businesses have made. And I contaminate the jury pool when I say that, but how do you guys receive hearing that? Because look at what's happening at that next network. Their ratings are climbing. They're competing with ESPN. Nick Wright is the monster star of that network. Colin Cowherd is building his own thing with Shannon Sharpe and others, apart and separate from that network. But that network used to be the most divisive one. Now there are more divisive ones than that one, and that one's going to sit in the middle on, we're just sports, don't worry about your politics, but watch Fox News as the racist, rapist criminal tries to topple democracy, and we pretend like we didn't have anything to do with it. Here's our sports show. We fed Bayless, that vampire, for 10 years.
Has anyone ever been excited for at least in my adult life, I've never been like, I'm pumped for this election matchup. This is gonna be.
What's been the best
Marino,
matchup?
Montana. At least in my adult life. I can't speak to a time before that.
But check out DraftKings Network. They're our bosses.
That's the part that's the worst about this. He's totally right. I fought
Except
for
the Fox News thing.
No, I fought for my right to. I fought for my right to fight politics. I want to talk politics. And he's like, nah, just talk sports. You can make a lot of money. Yep. Or you can dress like Willy Wonka and do it on your own.
Yep.
You are confident today, man.
That's the shaft.
That Ben Shaft, man. Peyronie's disease.
Really? Tell me more. Go ahead. No, don't leave. No, don't leave.
If it starts to bend like a carrot, Dan.
Ah, okay.
You guys have never seen the commercials?
Did you just say Peyronie's disease?
I think that's what it's called.
I heard pierogies.
No, I have not seen that commercial.
Your algorithm's different than mine, buddy.
Yeah.
Somebody please come in here and explain to me what just happened to Stugotz and his computer, because he either read something wrong. Stugotz very confidently did something there that I'm pretty sure was wrong. Can somebody walk me through this, please? What just happened there?
Well, there's a carrot on the screen. Your shaft is bent, and I was simply describing something that some guys go through with their shaft being bent.
I've never heard of
Deep
that.
cut, though.
Yeah.
But are you pronouncing it correctly? Are you confident you're pronouncing it correctly?
Oh, no. Are you kidding
You
me?
pronounced it like the Italian beer, I believe.
Peyronie's.
You did make it a pizza shop. You did. Ben Shaft Pizza Shop.
So Chris Lowe published an article this week about the inner workings of how Nick Saban left Alabama and they went and hired Kalen DeBoer. It was one of the more interesting articles I've read in a long time because it was like a super in-depth look of just the 48 hours of Nick Saban leaving, how that decision came to be made, plus who were they going to hire. I didn't realize it came down to Mike Norvell and Kalen DeBoer, and it was so close. But I think the thing that was so interesting about this article was Nick Saban was so candid in why he decided to leave. He talked about how after the game, players were, not all his players, but players were more concerned about, hey, am I going to get a starting job next year? How much money are you going to be able to pay me? And then all these little things started to come together where Nick Saban was like, hey, I'm done. And it wasn't necessarily the loss to Michigan. It wasn't necessarily NIL, but he was very open about it being a combination of all these things that made him decide to leave the Alabama job, which is just like very jarring to hear of him being like, the times are changing and I'm just not changing with them anymore.
Oh, but I thought this part was fascinating in its honesty, Stugotz, when Nick Saban, when he retired, it seemed sudden. Everyone in sports is allowed to look at that and say, hold up, this is a big deal that within 48 hours he's going to give up the sport and that economy. And he's going to be honest on his way out when he talks to Reese Davis about I'm too old for this. I mean, both of our presidential candidates are older than him, and the Alabama job is moving too fast for Nick Saban. The most interesting thing to me about the entire career of Nick Saban, and I regret calling him a used car salesman, a snake oil salesman, a vacuum cleaner salesman. When he left,
You got there.
when he left South Florida, I called him a lot of names on television and
A lot of salesman names.
Yes. I mean, look, man, he sold the Dolphins what I thought was a lie because he made a secret deal with Huizenga, and Huizenga told him, if you don't like the pros, you can go back and I'll never criticize you. And he never did. They made that deal, and Nick Saban went and conquered college sports in a way that he couldn't have. I was wrong there. Famously, loudly wrong. Play the wrong song real quick as I segue into what I want to say about Nick Saban before I ask Lucy some questions. You're wrong. As wrong as I've ever been. But I will say that for all the impressive things that Nick Saban has done in his career, I don't think he could do anything better than how he just nailed the exit. Because holy he gets out at the perfect time where he loses all the control. You still don't think he's bad. And now he could create a broadcasting job that keeps him adjacent enough that he'll be entertaining on television by just being honest about, he can be freer, Stugotz, about being honest about how he got out, why he got out, and be a voice that feels like a commissioner for college sports. Might not be interesting, but nailed the landing. Like perfect perfect segue from one career into the next.
He absolutely did. I think he's going to be great as a broadcaster. I think there's a sneaky sense of humor in there somewhere with Nick Saban. Hopefully he'll continue to be honest. But you're right. He went out in the perfect way because he brought a team that many thought was one of his worst teams, and he got them to the college football playoff. But I understand why he's leaving, Dan. At 72 years of age, there are so many changes to that sport. He's lost control.
He also just said in the article, it's just hard to do at this point.
He lost the control. Kids can leave whenever they want.
Oh, guys, though, look, one of the things that's so fascinating about this is that somehow it feels like within 48 hours, Nick Saban looked up. Within 48 hours, it feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, if the article had details, Lucy, that I've got wrong here. But in giving over one of the giant power economies in sports, the reason this is perfect, it's like the slow motion walk away from the explosion in the movies, is because right when you think the game might have caught up to him where he doesn't have all of the advantages and the sport has caught up to him because, oh, look at what Texas did very quickly at the perfect time with barely a loss to the national champion. You had the champions beat.
Yes.
Nick Saban says, you know what? The game caught up to me. No, never mind. It's not going to catch up to me. I'm out. I'm not waiting for any more to come to my legacy. I'm getting out at the perfect time for me.
The perfect time would be going out on top, right? You win it and you leave. I mean, he did end on a loss.
Ideal world, yes. But, Chris, he brought a team. Some people say that was his best coaching job ever last year.
I say that.
Right. There you go.
I do think it's funny.
It was still all 5 stars.
That
I was praying someone would agree.
With all the raises that Nick Saban has gotten over the years, that what kind of pushed him out was, oh, these guys want money and it's just a lot of stuff. Like, I want to raise every year, but this starting quarterback wants more money. I can't deal with this.
He never said that, like, paying players was bad, and he specified that when he talked about it. I think it was just the conversations you used to have after a season are no longer the conversations that you're still having.
The power dynamic is different.
No, Chris, they weren't devastated by losing. They were talking about where they're going to transfer, where they're going to get NIL money next year. That's stuff that Saban doesn't want to deal with anymore.
Yeah, he even mentioned, like, he hated how the team responded to the loss, throwing helmets, like that. The whole vibe just seemed kind of off for Saban, and from, like, the what this article said, he wasn't really sure. He went on vacation with Miss Terry and they tried to decide. They didn't. He comes back. It felt like a sort of day of decision where he just kind of woke up and was like, you know what? Today is my last day.
Who wouldn't want to retire that way? You just are like, yeah, today I'm going to do it. And in a month, I'm going to be the new person on game day. And everything is great because I'm the best that's ever done it. What a life.
I think I'm going to start calling my wife Miss Christie.
I got to be honest, I don't think we've had in the history of our show a whole lot of things more charming than Lucy calling Nick Saban's wife Miss Terry.
That's her name.
I know. And every time you say it, we are delighted. I'm not confused. We knew Miss Terry in town. I believe she told us. We have the audio somewhere of her admitting that he played like the ukulele or what did he play? He played some sort of weird instrument.
Accordion?
Maybe it was the accordion.
Or was that Tom Izzo?
No,
That's Tom Izzo.
The Tom Izzo as well. Miss Terry told us that Nick Saban, she revealed that as breaking news around here.
The accordion really had a moment, huh? I feel like everyone was taking accordion lessons in the 60s and 70s. Dan, did you ever take accordion lessons?
I did not. But Chris has found this sound that we wrestled away from ESPN.
Oh, my husband?
Yes. When you're on the piano and
he won't be too happy if I tell you this, but as a young man, he took accordion lessons.
So wait a minute, some dirt.
Like beer barrel polka, that kind of thing.
So he comes in. So you're banging on the piano. The 19-year-old Nicholas is on the guitar, and he's coming in with a crappy accordion.
Terry,
how lame is that?
The kid I babysit calls me Miss Lucy, and oh my God, the feeling I get, it is awesome.
The part that I meant, actually, Stugotz, that is the most fascinating about this, isn't him getting out perfectly because the game has caught up to him. It's because all of the things that Chris Cody is articulating there, which is, so you mean to tell me that at the very end, one of the great winners of all time who somehow built something stronger than what USC built in football with Pete Carroll or the University of Miami built.
Than anyone has ever built.
Than anyone has ever built at the place, okay, because this is big, big money we're talking about in college football. That place doesn't have any preordained right to be great at football because everybody wants to live there. Nick Saban built something when he had all the power and all the money that no one else can touch. And then as soon as Georgia and Clemson get in the game and it starts rattling at the top of the entire infrastructure, the greatest thing Nick Saban has ever done is getting out in front of that in a way that will not be remembered on his legacy in any way. He got out so perfectly that right when it looked like all the advantages had slipped away from him, he put down his ego and said, I'll leave now. I'm the best. I don't have anything left to do here.
You mentioned Clemson. It's happening to Dabo. Like, Nick avoided that because what you're talking about, Dabo is going through right now. He was considered one of the great coaches in the game, and now he's a guy who can't keep up with the game.
I don't know how he wins more in retirement than he won as a coach, but like the to get that ending where no one's going to remember that the whole thing caught up to him at the end.
That's why what he's done is so impressive, though, going off of Stugotz's comments about Dabo, because Dabo has the opportunity to reinvent himself the way that Saban had to do several times in his career. And right now, we'll see if Dabo's able to do that. But Saban was.
Oh, but it's so hard. I mean,
Yes.
when George is in the game, it is so, like, it's such an unfair standard. Clemson was for so long.
Texas is in the game.
Dabo being in the money game made no sense. Clemson has never deserved to be in the money game.
I think something that makes Nick Saban even more impressive is he went through coordinators like it was nobody's business. He had like probably 11 coordinators while he was at Alabama, and no matter what, never skipped a beat. Like it was so impressive, and yeah, Dabo can't say that.
Speaking of which,
Tyler.
He's too loyal. That's one of the main criticisms about Dabo is that, like, if it's not working with someone, he's too hesitant to cut ties. But speaking of Saban assistants, I saw one of them in Coral Gables last week. I was going to Asia Wilson's book signing at Books and Books, and I was walking down the sidewalk and turned a corner, Dan, and I gasped because Mario Cristobal was eating dinner at a table on the sidewalk right in front of me wearing his issue gear, and I think he heard me gasp, and we made eye contact, and I just walked past him and I didn't say anything.
Was Mike there?
Mike was no. I feel like we might get them in NIL trouble. Well, there's no rules anymore. Yeah, let's pretend Mike was there.
You kind of buried the entirety of the lead, though. And
it was a great book signing.
But that you would
Actually went to a book signing?
not just a book signing. Look, man, Miami does not do bookstores well. Bookstores in general are hurting. Her wanting to go see Asia Wilson because it's a cool thing to do, and getting starstruck on the way there by Cristobal because she's a college football dork, when the thing that she was going to do was much cooler than the lunch she happened upon.
You're absolutely right, which is why I forgot about it until 5 seconds ago when I was reading the article about Nick Saban. It was one of those things where, like, I think if it were probably any other head football coach at any other school, I would have stopped and said hi because we made eye contact, but because it was someone that we have made fun of so much on the show, I just buried my shame and walked by.
Well, the
silently.
show, yes, the show has a problem right now. Chris Cody, I ask you as the new executive, aiming for the new executive producer position, we have like some decisions that we have to make around here, content-wise. And Jessica, I failed at news today, but Jessica being starstruck by Cristobal, and I don't even
avoiding him.
I needed a shaft.
and then avoiding him because we've made fun of him, and me having the extra issue. Chris, this is what I need help with. Mike Ryan is boycotting Paul Pierce. Mike Ryan has gotten us in trouble with Terry Rozier. He's gotten us in trouble. He's gotten us in trouble with the Heat because his passions boil, and guys like Juju are here to defend Terry Rozier.
He's played well. I mean,
no, but our show. Why does our show keep ending up on the wrong
Mike
side
has
of
put
these
us
things?
in some bad spots. Although I put myself in a bad spot by giving Lucy and I gave him what was the footy, Lucy, the Mario Cristobal Award for game management. So that's our bad. Well, Lucy's bad.
Yeah,
I'll take the blame.
Mike came on here the other day. He was like, Terry Rozier shot 4 air balls in the one game. But he didn't mention that, boy, Terry Rozier scored like 12 points in a row that kept him in the game in the fourth quarter.
He only sees the misses. That's
right.
it.
They was only in that game because of Terry Rozier, and he's been playing better, bro. Jeremy Taché called it.
Jessica, honestly, it is a bit of innocence here that I am enchanted to discover. Have you in public had any other interactions with famous people where you wordlessly make eye contact and you think to yourself, has this person heard me making fun of him? Does he know that he has a footy?
It probably happened at Radio Row, but I will not say who.
So what happened is the eye contact you made is that you wondered to yourself, does Mario Cristobal know that I awarded him a footy for game management?
It wasn't just the eye contact. It was the gasp and then the eye contact.